Now, when I say Maruti, we always think of compact cars and we think of words like reliable and practical, but rarely do we think of words like quirky and cool. Well, this time around, Maruti are bringing you a compact car, but they're playing it different. They want to appeal to the millennial generation, and they brought in the funkily styled Ignis. Let's take a deeper look. The Ignis aims to cash in on the current craze for compact SUVs, and with its upright stance and square dimensions and flared wheel arches, it definitely looks the part. It's an eye-catching front on the Ignis, in particular these U-shaped DRLs that make it instantly recognizable. The grille sort of extends around the side and encases the DRLs in black, which are also quite interesting. It's a slim grille with a double-line chrome garnish that splits it through half, and of course the Suzuki logo right in the center. There's an interesting fog detail as well, again encrusted in chrome with the double lines, so lots of quirky fun elements on the nose. At just 3.7 meters long, the Ignis has a compact profile with a kink in the very large C-pillar. There's a black trim for vent on the side of the clamshell bonnet. There's contrast black wheel rims. There is the black cladding that runs along the wheel arches right across the bottom of the car. And of course, there are these three shark gill-like cutaways in the C-pillar that make it look quite sporty on the side profile. The rear is reminiscent of cars designed in the 80s, with the angular boot and its flared arches that give it a very squat, wide look. The Ignis catches your eye at once with its semi-retro styling, and it's the kind of design that people will either love or hate. As for me, I quite like it. Hop on the inside and it wows you. There's a dual tone colored dash which is flat, so visibility is really good. There are a lot of quirky fun elements on the interior as well. There are these exterior colored grab handles on the doors. There's an exterior colored part of the central console which has those three shark gill-like cuts, again continuing from the outside. There's a rotary area in the center for the climate control, which has these retro cockpit-like switches at the bottom. There's this floating tablet which forms your infotainment system. Now you can connect to Android Auto or Apple CarPlay via USB. And of course you have these aircon vents which again look a little retro with that chrome garnish for the adjuster. Lots of interesting elements on the inside. The instrument cluster is neat and clear, and there is a TFT display that gives you all the required information. There is also a new upmarket steering. Like all Maruti cabins, this one is practical too with ample storage spaces. The top-end variant comes pretty loaded with equipment as well. Find Fisherman's Cove. The back seat opens up a surprising amount of space for a car of its size. Now, with an average height person seated in front, there's a good amount of leg room. It's a tall car, so there's loads of headroom as well, which makes it feel quite spacious. You can squeeze three into this bench as well. Although the thick C-pillar does sort of intrude into the glass area of the rear window, and the window line is quite high as well, so it's a small glass area. And the headrest of the front seat is quite large in front of you. The seats themselves comfortable. Under thigh support a little short maybe for taller people, but otherwise you'd be happy spending a long time in this back seat. Whilst the cabin has its share of space and practicality, the boot doesn't get compromised. It's a fairly decent 260 litres, and you can fit in quite a few small pieces of luggage. There is also a 60-40 rear split to open up more room. Now, talking of what powers the Ignis, there are a multitude of variants, petrol and diesel, both available in manual and AMT. The engines are the ones we've seen in the Baleno, the 1.3-litre 75 HP DDIS producing 190 Nm and the 1.2-litre petrol with 83 HP and 113 Nm. We hopped into the top-end petrol manual first. As you get inside and start driving, you realize the position is nice, visibility overall is very good. Everything falls to hand easily, and the seats are also extremely comfortable. As we cut through the early morning traffic and headed out onto the East Coast Highway, I was quite impressed by the Ignis's petrol offering. That's a nice, smooth, refined engine, and if you do push it hard, you do begin to hear it, but it's a nice sporty note and it's never intrusive. In fact, the more I drove this engine, the more it appealed to me. Now the Ignis has shaved off a lot of weight, so it's considerably lighter than the Baleno, and you feel that in the power. This petrol engine feels punchy, it feels peppy, it feels nice, gets off the line really easily, gets up to triple-digit speeds as well, overtakes come smoothly. You always find power where you want it. The engine feels its strongest between 2,500 and 5,000 RPM. And although it does pull all the way to the red line, it's better to shift earlier for the better use of power. But even if you slow down and drop below the 2,500 mark, there's always enough to get you going. Even in the city, you can amble around comfortably. Just extend your foot gently on the throttle, leave it in a higher gear, and you will get going. May not get going immediately, but it will never hesitate or stutter. You can be a lazy driver. And that's the beauty, city or highway. In any condition, this petrol engine makes the perfect companion, and it's actually quite fun to drive too. Now you don't have to work the gears too much, but when you do need to use them, you will find that the gearbox is also nice to use. Shifts are smooth, it slots in easily, feels positive. The overall feeling in the petrol manual Ignis is that it's a nice, sporty little hatch that is fun to drive. Unfortunately, the steering doesn't keep up with the rest. Now there's one slight weak link, I would say it is the steering. In this petrol variant, it's not the most direct, doesn't let you really feel very connected to the road. The flip side is it works well as a city runabout. The light steering twirls easily as you nip in and out of traffic gaps. However, if you do make a U-turn, you will have to bring it back to center, as it doesn't always center easily. Now we really haven't found any winding sections of road to test this Ignis on, but I've been doing a lot of highway stretches, and it feels completely stable and comfortable at triple-digit speeds. In fact, it feels impressively stable. The Ignis just doesn't feel like a compact car on the highway, and you always feel assured. The Ignis's ride quality is also quite good. At low speeds, it's got this pliant edge that sort of smoothens out even the sharper bumps and potholes. And at higher speeds, it stays sort of calm and composed and really doesn't let anything much bother it at all. The ride quality is another area that the Ignis just feels like a larger car. I am completely impressed with this petrol manual, but it's time to hop into the other variants as well. Now start off in the diesel automatic, and a few things I notice instantly. Now this one is not available in the top end variant, so you have to settle with the more base variant. And gone is that big lovely tablet info display touchscreen. Instead there is a tablet-like attachment, but there is just a small display and music system and its controls over here. Also gone is the nice rotary climate control. Instead there is what looks like an aftermarket edition with the really old knobs and switch gear for the AC controls. Now the AMT gearbox is quite typical in as much as every time you shift up, there is that pause before it shifts the gear higher. It's actually quite perceptible. If you're gentle on the throttle, the shifts do feel smoother. It is only on constant acceleration or when you demand sudden bursts of power that it becomes extremely noticeable. But in the city, that pause and that hesitation before moving on to the next gear can be quite an irritant, because you're in stop-start traffic, you're constantly moving up and down the gears, and it feels quite jerky. You can get past that sort of pause and that lean forward that you get with the AMT gearbox by switching it into manual. And it will only allow you to shift down if you're at the correct revs. It will not allow you to shift down if you're too quick for that particular gear. But it will hold a gear all the way to the red line. However, in moving traffic, the AMT works well and does make driving much easier. Other thing you notice instantly is that this steering has a little more heft to it. It feels better connected to the road. There is a marginal difference in the ride quality too, but it is still overall a good ride. The ride feels a little stiffer and you feel the sharper bumps coming through a little more. Now, we did give the other two variants a try as well, and what we felt is that the petrol AMT is the better auto of the two. The shifts are much less perceptible and it actually makes city driving a breeze. We also drove the diesel manual, and while the engine performs well, you do have to work the gears a bit more than the petrol, and the clutch feels a little heavier, as do the gears. My clear pick of the entire bunch is the petrol manual. It really feels like a peppy, fun to drive car. It's easy in the city and out on the highway too. From the autos, it's the petrol that feels the better of the two. Despite us having few criticisms on some of the variants, in the face of competition they would stand their ground well. The Ignis is a car that leaves you overall impressed no matter which variant you try. Now, what the Ignis offers you is quirky styling, interesting interiors, a practical and comfortable cabin, good ride quality, and capable engines. So it does tick off all the right boxes. And of course, Maruti have carpet bombed the segment with a variety of variants. You get diesel, petrol, automatic, manual, and a very wide price range. It's just that at this kind of a price point and being an Nexa offering, one would have expected a better automatic and not just the basic AMT. Otherwise than that, if you're looking for a car in this budget, well, the Ignis is the car to buy.